If you buy wooden furniture in Eorzea, you can be pretty sure it hails from Gridania and their Carpenter Guild. The Carpenters of Eorzea specialize in synthesizing timber into wooden weapons, shields and furniture. And as they specialize in arms for archers and lancers, along with a heavy reliance on good cooperation with the Botanist Guild, it is no surprise the Carpenters Guild has found its home in Gridania. And while carpenters can be found in other places across Eorzea, it is within the Dwellswood where the great advancement in the art of carpentry has been made, as timber has become a major part of the city's culture. From the great water wheels of the city to the small wooden masks used in religious ceremony and on the guards, this is truly the home for carpenters. This is the world the Warrior of Light enters as they take their first steps as a carpenter in a realm reborn. We are promptly introduced to Guildmaster Beaton, a man with little patience and questionable social skills. He is not willing to admit just anyone into the guild, so the Warrior of Light must undertake few trials, proving both their skill with the saw along with their upstanding character. And it is after finishing these simple tasks that we open up the true story of the Carpenter in a realm reborn. The tale of two men who really should just sit down and talk to one another. It all starts one day when Beaton is not feeling right. He has no work for us and in fact tells us we should just go spend some time with the younglings out in the acorn orchard beside the guild. Beaton apparently likes to spend time with them from time to time, but as of late he has just been so overworked he hasn't found the time. We're kinda surprised that Beaton likes to socialize with anyone, so we do head out there to see these children. There we meet young Nicholas, the boy who seems to know Beaton well, and claims he has seen him in this mood before. From time to time, Beaton just gets into this mood when he can't think of anything new to make. But Nicholas has a plan to fix it. All Beaton needs is some high-quality walnut lumber. Because Beaton is always going on about how you must know the wood, so surely some quality wood would cheer him up. And surprisingly, this actually works. The man is immediately struck with new inspiration, and he tells us we remind him of a good friend of his. The man is not a carpenter, but he and Beaton started their chosen path at the same time, and would support one another. And at times when Beaton would get lost in one of his moods, his friend would help him find the inspiration again. It is sometime later when Beaton lets us know we have been requested by name for a commission. We are to make a conjurer's cane. These are valuable and delicate creations, as the conjurer of Gridania are more highly attuned to the natural world than most. So the cane must be perfect, and after we make it and deliver it to Beaton, he does believe this should be good enough. With the Guildmaster's approval, we had to find our client, a man named Gerhard at the Adder's Nest. He's not a conjurer himself, but he leads a unit of adders who are tasked with defending the city-state. He had a conjurer join the unit, but as Gerhard is of Alamican descent and Gridanians are notoriously untrusty of outsiders, he has so far resisted any attempt to integrate her into the ranks properly. Gerhard knows it's vital that she learns to trust him, and he can't just order her to do so. Instead, he has to show her that outsiders can be trusted and that they can understand the importance of Gridanians' history and culture. He asks us to deliver the cane to her, as he fears he might not accept it from him. We go find this woman named Ponette at the Conjurer's Guild, and she starts off rather judgmental, claiming frustration about being made to wait for some trinket the captain can't even deliver himself. But when she sees the staff, she's stunned, as this is no ordinary staff at all. This is a walnut cane, the dream staff of most conjurers, and is crafted by an outsider, but one would never guess it with the stunning craftsmanship. Ponette is forced to start rethinking her views now, realizing her belief that outsiders are incapable of comprehending Gridanian tradition may be wrong. She realizes she doesn't really deserve the cane, but she vows to become worthy of it with time. And with that we head back to Gerhard and give him the good news. He thanks us and then inquires about Beaton and asks us to give his regards to him. We agree to do so before heading back to the guild, where we report back to Beaton, who is surprised by the message. It turns out Gerhard is the old friend Beaton told us about before. He has of late been away from Gridania on a campaign for the others. But Beaton is surprised he is back and hasn't come to greet him in person. I think the two should just go say hi to one another. If Gerhard doesn't want to come to the guild, then Beaton can go to the others. The Carpenter Guild and the Adder's Nest are like 15 steps apart for these men. But I'm not someone who can control the friendship of two grown men, even if they're being kinda idiotic, so we leave them to it as we turn back to our usual guild-related business. Sometime later, Beaton brings us another special request. This time it's from Gerhard again, and is for an oak-long bow. Beaton tells us that Gerhard and his unit are part of the Yellow Serpents, and they are in fact one of their finest units. But for this reason, Gerhard and his men often have to head into hostile territory, so the bow has to be perfect. We make the bow and bring it to Gerhard, where we learn that his unit is about to head out in the morning. This apparently means he won't be able to say hi to Beaton this time around. He does though give us an advice that if Beaton is feeling down, we should just give him some lumber, because apparently that always works. Though we have already tested out this theory and it really does work. We then report our success to Beaton and honestly hope the two can just meet in person next time. It is fun to craft for them, but honestly they should make some time for their friendship. It is several weeks later that another commission comes through from Gerhard. His unit is back in Gridania, and this time it's another bow. And Beaton is thrilled as he is positive this is bow for Gerhard himself, as this type of bow is only fit for a master marksman, and for this reason the bow has to be perfect. We agree wholeheartedly, making sure to get the best wood from the Botanist Guild, and take all the time we need to craft a quality bow, which we present to Beaton. There he thoroughly inspects it before we are given permission to make the delivery. But we learn that the bow is actually not for Gerhard. Nope, it's for yet another member of his unit. So, being curious, we ask Gerhard about his bow, and it turns out he's still using a bow Beaton made many years ago when he was an initiate at the Carpenter's Guild. At the time, Beaton was full of doubts and questions and unsure about his ability, which I find kinda hard to imagine, but quite adorable. And it's honestly kinda hard to imagine Beaton like that. But at the time, Beaton crafted a maple longbow for Gerhard, which he plans to use till the day he dies. Not that he's planning to die anytime soon. We head back to the guild, telling Beaton about the misunderstanding, and the guildmaster is stunned that Gerhard still uses that bow. It's been so long since it was made. It was a fine weapon, but not one you can just use forever. All bow age, and with good use, they will slowly break down. Eventually the bow will snap. No, this won't do. Beaton decides he will talk to Gerhard and craft him a new bow. It's not long after that we hear shouting from the guild hall, and then Gerhard storms out of the guild. We carefully approach Beaton, asking what happened, and he tells us that Gerhard just refuses to listen to reason. And maybe Beaton got a little bit too heated, leading to the two of them having a big fight. And Beaton is currently just not in the mood to talk and asks us to leave him alone. So we head out and wander off to the Adder's Nest to ask Gerhard what happened. We do find him there fuming, and he tells us that he had come to the guild because he needs some new weapons crafted, as his team is about to head out on a very dangerous mission. So to try to make sure everybody's gonna be okay, we at least offer to make the weapons. We do try to convince him to part with his old bow, but Gerhard is not moving on it. So we make the weapons and make sure at least his unit goes out with the best weapons they have, all except Gerhard. And thought things over. He's planning to meet with his friend next time he comes to Gridania. Sit down with him and have a proper calm discussion. But as the days pass, we get terrible news. In the North's route near the Ixal territory, they found Gerhard's bow. Beaton gets to see the bow and confirms it himself that this is the bow he crafted all those years ago. And his friend is gone. Now Beaton takes this news as badly as one would expect. He goes on a rampage within the guild, breaks some things, screams and shouts. And we simply stay outside wishing we could do anything to help him. But you can't fix losing a friend like that. As we sit outside, Nicholas approaches with an idea. Maybe some wood could help? But not just any wood. It has to be the best wood we can find, so rosewood might work. We doubt it, but we figure it's worth a try. So we gather up some rosewood, fashion it into the perfect specimen and bring it to Beaton, who has by that point calmed down a bit. He's not gonna fix anything, but maybe it can distract him for a moment. Beaton just stares at the wood. He doesn't feel inspired, but he does realize something. The scouts who found the bow, they did find the bow, and they did find some signs of fighting, but they didn't find any bodies, meaning Gerhard could still be alive, and more alarmingly, he might be alive without a weapon out there. He needs a bow and he needs it now, but Beaton has injured his hand during his earlier rampage, so the crafting falls to us. With the Timbermaster's help, we gather up the supplies and set to crafting the perfect crab bow. We even affix it with some savage A materia, and then we wrap it up and set out to the North route to find Gerhard. Now, a battlefield is no place for a carpenter. Still, we make our way past the angry Ixals and through the overgrowth to find Gerhard, who is indeed without a bow and very startled to see us there. We quickly shove the bow into his hands, telling him he should have listened to Beaton, and then direct him to finish the job so we can get back to Gridania where he can thank Beaton in person. With the draw of a fresh bow, Gerhard enters the fight again, and soon the Ixals are on the run. We travel back to Gridania with the unit, and as our Carpenter story ends in a realm reborn, we are glad Gerhard and Beaton are both alright, and we will hopefully be free from sending any more messages between the two. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. It would really help me if you would do all the good YouTube stuff and then maybe pick one of the videos on the screen to watch next. But whatever you end up doing, I just want to say thank you and I hope you have a lovely day.